Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Puff Drink Talk. I'm Dylan.
I'm Hilton.
George. And Pablo here.
We're missing Conrad this week, unfortunately. He's having a little allergy attack or something. I don't know. But we'll see him next time.
Yep, we'll see him next time. Today, we're going to be smoking on these, which is... Let me bring a... What is that? AJ Fernandez? AJ Fernandez?
It's my father,
No, it's my father. I don't know.
Le Beju.
Le Bijou. Oh, I thought it was AJF, but it's an M and F.
Yeah,
It
my
looks
father.
It
My
looks like
father.
an A and a J. Yeah. So it's my father, Le Bijou, 1922. Okay, so we're gonna be smoking on that one. And what are we gonna talk about today?
well, we got the Super Bowl coming up.
Let's talk about football and a little bit of history in it, and Super Bowls and the season. Talk about the season.
Yeah,
how
I mean,
it
it's been
went.
interesting. In end of the year, it's the Zebras that won the whole thing, so,
Unfortunately. So,
something's got to change on that, but
are you still probably rooting against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl for the three-peat, or at this point, we just submit to the ref's will?
it's tough from my seat, being I'm a diehard Cowboy fan. I really don't want the Eagles to win, but I don't really want to see KC have a three-peat either. But on the flip side, I think it'd be kind of cool to be alive and personally watch a game for the first time in history that something like that has happened. So I'm kind of indifferent and hope they both lose. But I know that can't happen. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. If I'm a bet man right now, I'm going to say Philly wins 31-28.
Okay, so some redemption
A little bit.
a couple years ago.
I always say that could be a tie in the game, and then they say nope, it doesn't exist. And it's like, all right.
Got some stats over here on the right.
So we gotta show that.
Might be easier to see on your left. But ranking offense, Eagles were the 8th. Chiefs were the 16th.
Sounds right.
I think that kind of doubles down on the refs kind of interfering. How do they have the record that they have and make it all the way to the Super Bowl with the 16th?
Because the Eagles don't have the refs in their back pocket.
And
KC does.
they're talking about banning the tush push more and more.
I think you should ban the tush push. I've said that from day one. I don't think it's a legit play.
Well,
But you're talking about the odds on this. I'll bring up the one odd that's not on that screen that I actually heard on the radio yesterday.
these are just statistics.
It's a 500 to 1 odd that Taylor Swift gets proposed to. And it's a 900 to 1 odd that she says no. That's the stat everybody's looking at. It's a legitimate bet on the Vegas betting scene. I think that's kind of funny.
Throw $10 on it.
Well, they said it's the one bet you can make on KC again the Super Bowl, and the refs really don't have a play in it.
Yeah.
Isn't
That's
it
funny.
funny that it's gonna come down to everything is happening to make something happen on the life of a player or something like that?
Right. It's been a crazy season, man.
Look, I don't know how much you know that, like all these betting companies took control of Brazil. Like there are like 13 big teams in Brazil, maybe 15. Globally speaking, I would say 10, and all of them somehow are involved with the betting company. So you would hear the craziest things possible. Okay, this guy will touch the ball with the hand at minute 4.
Oh, yeah.
It's the impunity is ridiculous. It's going what is going on. It's in every sport we see that. I think some sports control that better, but In soccer, it's crazy.
I mean, you can bet on if the opening coin toss is heads or tails. That's always every year is a big one.
First fumble of the game, first touchdown pass of the game,
Yep, the player prop bets. Who scores the first touchdown?
the first team with a penalty, all kinds of different
Yeah,
betting.
which I think it's the last game, so they have to throw in all kinds of wacky stuff just to keep it interesting. You know.
I think some actions are, are okay to bat, but those ones that I mentioned to you, like when you suggest like crazy stuff happening and it does happen, it's just that I don't know. I know it's a free market, but it kind of ruins the game. This is how I feel about the betting going on.
Well, I think when you get into games like the Super Bowl, or even let's pull it over to soccer, which I don't watch a lot of, but you get into these big games, let's say the Super Bowl, I think a lot more attention pulls away from the game and into the commercials, the betting,
Yes.
who's going to propose to Taylor Swift stuff and that kind of stuff. And by the end of the night, people forget about the game. It's all the other crap that happened in between the plays of the game that they worry about,
That's true.
and it takes away from the game, in my opinion.
Sometimes it's a good thing because the games aren't that good.
I think this one will actually be a good game.
The last one was 2019, I
Right.
think, but it was a 3-point game. That was a good game. Super Bowls are hit or miss like that. It's either close and competitive or it's just a blowout.
Right.
They're never fun to watch as a blowout,
No.
Why is that? Maybe the teams are too concerned of not being scored, that they are overthinking about what to do.
It could be, or
There's so much at stake.
sometimes there's just one team that is really that dominant and their game plan and everything's just that much better. Or a team schemes something up all week and the opposing team goes a completely different direction. So I feel like if the Eagles just completely take out the running game this week, they're not going to bother with Saquon and they just do something else and the Chiefs weren't prepared for it.
How much is this spying thing in those teams, in those games? Have you heard about like Chiefs? I don't know, any professional spying going on? Because we're talking about billions, right? So it kind of justifies this kind of behavior.
I don't think you see any of that going on to worry about too much, you
Yeah.
know. You hear about things here and there, but nothing to come to fruition that's going to change the outcome of the game.
All right.
The last big cheating scandal of sneaking around, it was in college, not the NFL.
Right.
Like Michigan, actually, looking into calls and stuff.
So until Harbaugh is back in the Super Bowl, we ain't got to worry about it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like him though. Jim Harbaugh is a cool guy.
You know, I'm not. I'm on the fence. I mean, I think he's a good coach. I don't know enough about him to dislike him or like him per se.
He just seems like a goofball to me.
He's a good coach though.
Yeah,
So-
the players seem to love him, especially Herbert.
But y'all want to talk about coaches for a minute, man? Let's jump the train just a little bit. What were the Cowboys doing, passing up on opportunity of coaches outside the system versus hiring within?
It doesn't make much sense to me.
I mean, you had Aaron Glenn, you had OC there from Detroit. Both great options for.
Everybody was throwing out Deion Sanders, which I don't think would have been
That wouldn't have been the answer.
a long-lasting thing. People threw Mike Vrabel out. I wasn't that interested in that.
No, and I'm guessing Aaron Glenn and them just didn't want to be the puppet there for Jerry, so they said no or whatever.
Well, before Belichick signed to UNC, I think that would have been an interesting conversation to see him down in Dallas.
Yeah,
But he probably would have bumped it. Jerry doesn't give a coach as much as control as they want. So that's the reason why they hired him. This guy is someone's just going to listen and do whatever Jerry wants him to do. He's
right.
going to make his salary, and he doesn't know.
He'll last 5 seasons and be gone. We'll get another coach.
Yep.
But it's hard to say that because we haven't seen him perform, so let's wait and see what he does.
Yeah, because he didn't call the plays this past year. It was McCarthy, so
Right.
we don't know.
Right.
He said he thinks Dak will win multiple Super Bowls.
Well, a lot of us have said that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so he's got the confidence, but I talked to a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans They don't want Dak around anymore. And I don't think Dak's the problem.
I don't think Dak's a problem either. And my question to everybody when they say, okay, Dak needs to be gone, get somebody else in there. Who's that somebody else?
I said the same thing. We were talking to his networking and our friend Charles, and he was saying that to me, like, we got to get rid of him. Like, who are we going to bring in that's going to... Trey Lance isn't ready.
Nope.
Who are we going to trade for that's available? Who are we going to draft that we could... Nobody. So I think we need to get a sidekick for CeeDee Lamb. And I would have said a running back, but Rico Dowdle, I mean, if we get an O-line, Rico Dowdle, I mean, you just need a guy that can run the ball. You don't have to make it rocket science.
Dowdle's good. I think we might not hurt to get another one if we could draft one and bring him up and let him train a little bit. But Cowboys need another, like you said, opposite for CD. So we got a dual threat.
Yep.
And the Cowboys need a couple offensive linemen. Some of our linemen that we have are getting hurt and old and retiring, and they need some new ones.
I think that'll force...
How old is Dak? How old is he?
Oh, maybe 30.
Yeah, I was 28, 30, somewhere in there. I'll look it up.
But is it, for example, winning multiple Super Bowls, right? You mentioned, Paul.
Well,
and then
31.
31.
So he's 31, and how normally old players play?
Maybe another 4 or 5 years on average.
Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, a bit of an anomaly where they'll play into like 40 and after 40. But yeah, typically like 35 to 37, depending on the guy.
How old were Joe Montana when he stopped? Just as a reference.
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up.
We can look it up, but I'm going to guess he was probably mid-30s.
So it's a factor in there, right? So if you're saying that he's going to win multiple championships,
37.
Yeah,
they have to put a team together.
But that's probably about the average age too. Yeah, they do have to put a team together, but by getting someone on the other side, that's going to force defenses to make a decision. I'm going to continue to double CeeDee Lamb, and another guy's going to be open, who's somebody like a Terry McLaurin or just someone with some rapport.
Somebody with some rapport that, if nothing else, it's a decoy.
100%. And then they have to respect that guy, which also gets CD open. So it's going to open up so many more things. And then if we draft a guy like Ashton Genty, that's what everybody's been talking about. We have the 12th pick in the first round. Ashton Genty, he had a record year at Boise State.
I mean, I think that would be a phenomenal pick for the Cowboys. Like I was saying, get a running back in, let him work it a little bit and train and learn the system. And then, maybe by the time he gets a hold of the plays and learns how to play the NFL, he's no longer a running back, because with his wheels and his ability to play the game, man, he's a little flank man or a wing man or something.
He can flex it out, yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be a great pickup if they can get him.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Only other thing I would say would, if not him, get an O-lineman.
Well, my pick, if you don't get Gentry, is, I forget his name now, but the tight end for Penn State. That kid's a monster, man. Long blonde-haired kid.
We could use a tight end as
well. A
good
good tight end, and he's got hands. He's the number one tight end in college football right now. He'll go in the top. He'll go in round
I can't
one.
remember his name. We were just watching him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I can't remember his
name. You know what I'm talking? Number 40.
Mm-hmm.
He's a beast. Good kid. So, but back to the Super Bowl. The Eagles and the Chiefs. Hope they both lose.
Yeah. I was really rooting for a Bills-Commanders Super Bowl with the Bills taking it home.
You and 40 million other people.
That would have been exciting.
I mean, I was actually rooting for Detroit, but that went out the window. But, yeah, Bills, Commanders, and Bills run away with it.
Nobody saw that coming, though.
No.
Washington taking down Detroit.
It's probably the biggest upset in the playoffs, right?
That has to be one of the biggest upsets of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
it was consistent. I watched that game, it was consistent win, right?
I don't know if I would say the biggest upset, but I would think, based on how the Washington played the last quarter of the season, I mean, they were coming on strong and playing good football.
True.
And I love their coach. Dan Quinn, man, he's a great coach.
Campbell.
Are
you talking about Commanders?
Commanders.
Oh yeah, he used to be our DC.
Yeah, he used to be the DC for the Cowboys.
He's a good guy.
But I'm just saying, with that coming on, It wasn't. I would say it was more of a surprise that they played as well as they did, as long as they did during the playoffs. But based on how they played 2 weeks prior to the game with Detroit, it wouldn't really surprise me that they won. They played good ball.
With a rookie quarterback, did everything you asked him to do.
Oh, he was stellar.
Which, as a Cowboys fan, is kind of disconcerting because we're going to have to deal with that for the next 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if our defensive ends will play ball and stay home like they're supposed to, we'll contain them.
But they haven't been.
No,
Micah, I don't know if we're going to retain Micah Parsons. He says he wants to stay in Dallas his whole career,
yeah, but we'll
but he's not going to take a lesser contract.
No,
He's not.
But Jerry's dumb if he doesn't keep him.
Well, I mean, you could translate that over to the NBA. No one ever thought the Dallas Mavericks would trade away Luka Doncic.
I agree. And
I didn't want to bring that up, man. We can talk about that later. Cause
Have you seen the conspiracy about it?
oh, I've read it all. Yeah, I know.
I don't follow basketball, but I know enough that was not a great trade.
Just as like probably for sure is the biggest trade in history of NBA.
I got a short
Yeah.
that we could make out of this. There's a whole conspiracy
Yes.
going on
Yeah.
where apparently, so Mark Cuban sold his majority share. New people that came in that are running the Dallas Mavericks have been lobbying in Texas to legalize gambling. And they want to build like a casino resort and put a new stadium
Inside of it, yeah,
inside of it. So they've been lobbying hard, and the legislative window just opened. They spend more money on lobbyists in the state of Texas than I think any other entity, and it didn't pass. It didn't go through. So now the next legislative window is 2 years from now, and they are threatening to take the team to Vegas. They're going to leave
That's
Dallas.
a shooting in his own
And so-
foot, That's the thing,
And everyone's
know.
like, it sounded like an empty threat. They're not going to do that. They had like the 4th largest market in the NBA, blah, 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 blah. So it seems a little bit like self-sabotage. We're going to trade away Luka. Home ticket sales are going to fall. They're going to purposely sabotage their own market so it sets themselves up to move to where they really want to move long term, because it's a business. They don't care about winning games. They want to make money.
We'll make money.
So that's...
I don't know. That's weird.
Let me turn this on for you, too. I know, but it's got a lot of traction online. People are really talking about that. And I know that that is the definition of a conspiracy, but it's not that far-fetched to me.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to talk about it just to stir it up and get people like us to talk about it.
Okay.
So I'm going to be in Arizona watching Super Bowl.
We're supposed to be at Conrad's, but he might still be sick.
Might still be sick. I wouldn't recommend going.
I see you in Arizona.
We coincidentally, like 3 months ago, planned a trip out there just to have fun. It just happened to be Super Bowl weekend. So I got some friends from Boulder coming to meet us, and then we're going to find an establishment out there and watch it. But I think it'll just be a little bit different watching the Super Bowl in Cardinal country versus over here in what is known as, Texan or Cowboy country.
Yeah.
And seeing who people root for, who people pull for. And I think I'm just going to show up in my Cowboy shirt and see what kind of shit I can stir up.
I was thinking at the Super Bowl party, I'll go in my Cowboys jersey.
Yeah.
No one's, as far as I know, no one's really rooting for either team.
I mean, if I'm going to be in Arizona, I think if I show up to the bar with a Cowboy jersey and my Cowboy hat on, they're going to kind of know I'm from Texas, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, say 2 words, they'll know you're for Texas.
What you trying to say over there?
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. Come on now. Through and true of my roots, baby.
Yeah, that's the only way to be. I get told that all the time. I'm very Texan. I said, you haven't met enough Texans.
Right? I was even. It's funny you say that.
We haven't met Paul yet.
Yeah. Oh, come on now.
Oh, you're very Texan.
Hey,
It's a compliment.
A few weeks ago, I was in Austin at a party with some friends, and this lady turns around, looks at me, and she goes, "You're not even from around here, are you?" And I went, "Well, what do you mean?" She goes, "That sounds like North Texas accent." And I'm like, how in the hell do you know the difference between Texan and North Texan? I said, but that's funny. I am from Fort Worth, so
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a difference.
You'll see, people pick it up if they're like very.
You're from here.
How many
Yeah.
accents can you pick from Texas? Like I can clearly see like 2 or 3. Like, can you say that?
Yeah, maybe 3 or 4. That's about it.
Yeah, not much more than that. Southeast definitely has more of like a Louisiana influence.
Mm-hmm.
North, to me, I feel like it's kind of hard to tell the difference between North and Central.
Yeah, I don't know how she could tell that.
Central is like they don't really have a real Texan accent because everyone's moving here from California. But if you've lived here your whole life, Central versus like the Fort Worth area, it's kind of hard to differentiate, in my opinion.
Yeah.
How diversified is the population? Do you know the Texas population? Because I would say that, of course, you got to include the Spanish, the Spanish accent too, because it's like what 40% of Texans.
Yeah, we have a large
speak
Hispanic
Spanish,
population.
so that is also part of the not accent. Oh, it is part of the accent too. So I would include it.
What about those Texans that speak Spanish? There's that too.
yeah. But I'm saying like I think
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
I
Yeah,
can
Spanish
speak.
is pretty good. Yeah.
I can pick up 2 accents: English and Spanish.
Yeah. This is not. Yeah.
¿Tú no sabes español?
Yo hablo español.
Oh, poco.
Poco yo
un
hablo un
poquito,
poquito de español. Hablamos.
Wow.
I'll tell you, I was blown away by how many Brazilians live here. I never knew.
You didn't?
No, I didn't really come across many. And then
Never.
now
Go to the soccer game. You'll see them all.
you can't cross the street without running into a Brazilian now.
There is a third language being spoken in this state,
Yeah.
which is Portuguese.
It is Portuguese.
Yeah.
So-
And Texas is attracting a lot of Brazilians. I think Texas already. Texas top 7 already. Because number 1 definitely New
No.
York, then Florida second, then you have New Jersey, then you have Massachusetts, then you have California, then you have Illinois, and then you have Texas.
What's the appeal to Illinois?
I don't know. I was super surprised when I lived in
Chicago?
When I lived in Chicago, and I saw that was like 1.5 million Polish and almost 800,000 Spaniards and 300,000 Brazilians. It's like in Chicago.
Chicago's a cool city.
Exactly. You're right. So cities like Toronto, New York, Chicago, LA, they tend to be diversified, But
Same with Dallas, Houston.
yeah,
Austin's just so much smaller compared to those other cities, but we're growing. But we're going through a lot of growing pains. We've been under construction for the past 70 years.
I would say that
Dallas.
if it's less than 30, I would say like there's something wrong with your numbers. But
You're not from here.
Yeah,
and I'm
Yeah,
not
Longer
from
than I've been
around
alive.
Yeah.
Dallas itself, by the city itself, is not that populous. It's the same size
surrounding, yeah.
of San Antonio. I think it's smaller than San Antonio by itself. The problem is you have all the surroundings of those big cities, and then you count as a, as a mega city, or
Yep.
as you prefer, how you call
I would-
metro, right?
Yeah, I would. You got Dallas and you got Fort Worth, and the structure of the highways, the way it wraps around, you've got all of this suburban
Smaller
living area.
towns.
Where
Yeah, but-
Austin's a lot more linear, It's-
But you say that, and I just heard a few weeks ago driving down the road on the radio, they were talking about the updated population count for the state of Texas, and they were upset it was KLBJ, and they were upset about how Dallas just surpassed Austin as far as population.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're saying it's not as populated within the city of Dallas, it's all the surrounding, but when they do the populations, it is Dallas.
Like metropolitan areas?
Itself.
Okay.
And Austin itself. I mean, Houston's the largest populated city in the state of Texas.
It's yeah.
and then
It's
and
like
then,
the third largest in the country,
and,
isn't it?
and then but the number 2 largest city in the state of Texas is now Dallas. It was Austin.
Really?
Yeah, but they said a lot of the people in Austin are leaving the city and coming out here to the suburbs. So the population is going down.
The city of Austin can't sustain much more.
Well,
It's not as big.
And taxes, property taxes are going up so much that everything now is Airbnb out there.
yeah, but you say they can't take it, but man, every time I look down there, it's like they put another 400-story building down there for people to live in. So instead of growing
yeah.
outwards, they're going upwards.
But for the type of people that are looking for, that's people moving here with a lot of money.
Yeah.
Do you
But I'm
know
just
what's
saying.
going to be big? When San Antonio and Austin become one big megalopolis.
I won't live long enough to see that.
Yeah. Well, 20 years, man. The cities are growing into its
They are
direction. You know, like
connecting.
you got a Buddha going that way in New Braunfels, right? Also, so San Marcos, it's gonna become 10 million, stretch of human beings
I'm
going.
still
I'll tell
wondering
you.
what happened to the Austin River Walk. They were supposed to build one of those.
There's a
and I
trail
guess
going
that
on,
fell
right?
through.
There's a trail going on.
Mhm.
There's $6 billion that's being built. You're gonna have
they're-
like a trail, yeah.
They're more worried about the rail than the Riverwalk.
Yeah. Maybe they're just worried, like the Rainy Street Killer. They don't want to give him more playing ground. So
By
Yeah.
us here on this river here, on our river,
love
in
the
Round
place.
Rock, there is a river walk, and then it goes far.
Yeah, this one they just upgraded here in Round Rock.
Yeah, it goes far.
it's
It
pretty
goes-
nice.
It
It's a
is-
nice little one. They
yeah.
upgraded it and made it nicer and cleaner and put in
Uh-huh.
some sidewalks and stuff. And
We ran there, we walked there, so we live in Round Rock, so we see that, yeah.
It's
You
a
were-
long stretch.
you were running there?
No, we run
walk.
or walk both.
Oh, you said you were running. I didn't know if somebody was chasing you or what.
Yeah, we run. Yeah, and we usually go there for running
was-
and walking.
He was preparing a joke in there.
Yeah, he ruined it. It's all good. It's all good.
Super Bowl. We're talking about Super Bowl, right?
Well, we were trying to talk about Super Bowl. Somehow we got about how George runs on the sidewalks when he shouldn't be.
Yeah, you
know.
brought it up.
Yeah. I just don't want you to run and hurt yourself, sir.
Thank
You
you
know,
for thank you for the concern, man. I
worry
really
about,
appreciate
I
it.
worry about my elders, so I want you to take care of yourself.
see
Just
that,
walk
yeah.
slowly. You'll get there.
Yeah, I will do that. Don't need to run, right?
No, it's more dangerous that way.
Yeah.
And it's hard to drink your bourbon and smoke your cigar when you're running.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a good challenge. Shit.
yeah. 2 glasses would be the challenge.
I heard you guys is starting to organize the golf tournament already, right?
Yes, the golf tournament is on again for BNI this year, and Rob and I are waiting back an answer from Chris there with Cimarron Hills, but we're going to try and push it into September or October.
Better climate.
A little bit better climate, maybe better weather, maybe a better turnout. But yeah, we're definitely, as soon as I hear back from Chris, he's out this week. He'll get in touch with me next week and see what dates are available. But you bring up the golf tournament, and I've got another one upcoming here pretty soon. I can get all of y'all the information on it here before we leave, but I'll go ahead and talk about it right now. There's one, I believe it's April 7th. I'll verify that here in a minute. It's at Berry Creek in Georgetown, and it's for the Williamson County Aggies Mothers Club, and the money goes for scholarships for females coming out of high school going into A&M.
Okay.
And it's like their 5th or 6th annual tournament, and they're still growing, so we're still trying to get more people out there. So I can definitely get you in touch with the friend of mine that's running it, and if y'all would like to join, it'd be a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
I think last year we tried to get like 30 teams, and we had like 21, 22, so we're still trying to fill it in and get more players. But, yeah, that one's coming up, and then we got the BNI one, and then I've got the Super Cooper tournament that I help sponsor first Monday of November every year at Star Ranch, man. So
Paul,
we gotta go somewhere to practice because I never played, so I need to practice to start playing. So
well, that helps. Practice makes you better.
Paul, what did you learn from the first tournament that you think you're going to be able to fix in the second one? Like you said, like number one or the top 2 things.
I think number one, which we're already starting on right now, is promoting it sooner and earlier to get more people knowledgeable about the tournament and what it's when it is and where it is. Number 2, I think we need to be more open on what BNI is and what BNI is using the money that we raise from that tournament for. I talked to quite a few golfers when we were there, just kind of about, hey, thanks for coming. May I ask you what brought you here? And I got a few people that said, hey, I'm here because of BNI. I'm here because of the foundation that y'all use the money for. And then I got other guys that said, we don't even know what BNI is. We're just here because my friend said there's a golf tournament. We're playing golf, which those guys are welcome to come. I'm not saying don't show up. But I think if we promoted it more and longer on what BNI is and what we promote and use the money for, I think that would help bring in more people and more sponsors. And with that being said, I think having more sponsors and more people playing the game, you're going to get bigger and better sponsors. And as a golfer that plays a lot of tournaments, I think some of those people want to play tournaments that have big outcomes on the backside, the winning. Like, what are you winning? So when you're going to win a $100 gift card to play golf, okay. But you're winning a $2,000 stay at a hotel in San Antonio for 3 nights with you and your wife and dinner included and all that kind of stuff. That makes it more appealing for more people to come play the game.
That's getting people out of bed.
Yeah.
They're going to wake up and come to that. Yeah. Well, for the average Joe like Hilton and myself, we don't play golf. I still like the camaraderie, hanging out with the guys, smoking a cigar, riding around on the carts. I'll swing the club. I just don't know where the fucking ball's going to go.
Right. And, well, I mean, I play a lot of golf, and I got that problem sometimes, too. So,
but I like to go out, have a drink, smoke a cigar, and just hang out with the guys, you know?
And you
support a good cause.
And you might be able to help us support all that and promote that, because that's part of it. It's not only about people coming out and playing golf and people saying, like you just did, hey, I'm not really good at golf, so I'm not going to go play the game. Man, there's so much more there to do at the tournament than just play golf. I mean, Hilton, you don't know much about it either, but y'all two helped out very tremendously with one of the events that we had there.
Yeah.
There's the closest to the pin and helping run stuff and maybe helping organize things. Definitely going to try and put together a little bit. Y'all weren't there for the award ceremony, but it was very not there. You know, it was just kind of nonchalant, and half the people done left. And I think that's another thing. If we do it earlier in the season, it's not as dark as early. People stay longer. And the rain didn't help that day.
We started a little late.
We had a 3-hour rain delay, so that didn't help either.
Yep.
I'd
like to regardless of my skill level, I'd like to participate and play next time just to have fun. You know, we can form a team of amateurs and still have fun.
Well, what you do, and we can help you work on it and maybe start putting the word out. But hey, we've got a couple amateurs over here that don't know much about golf, but they're practicing, they're learning, they're trying to get better, and maybe put you with a couple decent golfers and have a good time.
That's what I'm really not concerned with winning the whole thing. It seems like so unattainable. I just want to go have fun, support a good cause, hang out with the guys, and I think somebody that's not like feels like none of us are professional golfers, but someone that doesn't go do it all the time, it doesn't have to be like an intimidating thing. Just go out and have fun.
Exactly.
What I noticed is that it's only the best ball that gets played. Let's say.
Well, that's what the 4-man scramble is about. So the 4 of you hit the ball, the best ball gets played. So even if you're not a very good golfer and you hit a bad ball every single time, you're still playing from the best ball that the team had every shot that you play.
Is a cutoff.
And as you keep playing and as you keep attempting to play the game, you're eventually going to get better.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And eventually they're going to play one of your shots. And maybe you don't play the shot of yours off the tee box. But, your team puts it up on the green and you're putting. Maybe you get a putt that goes in a hole, man. Right there, you contribute.
And
you
Paul,
had a good ball.
It's also interesting to create a culture. Like if you go to this event, even if you're not a professional, you can go there and learn it.
You bet.
It's a safe environment. Attached together with selling the service, the product, the event as a safe place for someone who doesn't play well. Feel awkward about that. That's kind of interesting too. It's good to have eyeballs,
And Hilton, another place that you can go and try and practice and play golf, and the weather never matters, man. Get your butt over the Top Golf.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, it's not as natural there as a natural golf course, but you get your swing down. You've got some targets, and I don't know if you've ever been to Top Golf.
I've been once.
I don't know when the last time you went, but they now have programs on the computer there where you can actually punch in and play an 18-hole course.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just hitting at the targets that they have. I just played it back during the holidays with my buddy up in Fort Worth, and we played Pebble Beach.
Mhm.
And
That's cool.
It's fun. I mean, you type it in, it's like you're on a real golf course, man. You got 2 players, 4 players, wherever it is, and you take turns, and the furthest ball out goes next, and it's legit golf, and it's fun. The only thing you don't get to do is putt.
I want to do it. I put it as a goal for this year to play some golf.
Well, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Weather gets a little better here. I mean, we got a little cold snap coming next week, but
Weather's been great this week.
yeah, I'll be the first one to tell you right now, man. March and April ain't here yet, brother.
Yeah,
I
it's gonna
know.
get cold.
I know.
Yeah.
You'll get another cold snap.
I'm sure of it.
Plant them plants now. I'll come replace them for you a second time in about May.
Guys, I don't quite like the winter that much, so I track every year, almost every day from the winter. And I'll tell you, end of February, it's always the worst. End of February. So
Our
we're gonna have
coldest
one.
month is almost always February.
Yes, end of February. You know, if you remember 2021 and 2023.
Snowmageddon.
Yeah, exactly.
It's coming.
That's the one.
Well,
Oh, there's all of the Canadians moving here, so they bring the weather.
Yeah, well, they can take it back with them.
we just
Winter
had
is coming.
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day, 6 more weeks, he says.
Okay, so that was the result. We got 6 more weeks.
6 more weeks of winter.
That's what I was wondering. Okay, so we're not out of it. Damn.
We're definitely not out of it. For sure. But you know what?
I was already putting my winter clothes back.
No,
and
I
then-
wouldn't do that just yet. But the cold or the not cold, it doesn't last long around Texas. I'm Texan, as we've already determined, and I'm not a big fan of the cold weather. But what I want to see come is rain, baby. We need some rain.
Yep.
And it's dry out there.
It is.
Very, very dry.
Well, we know that summer's going to be hot, so it'd be nice to get the lake filled up.
Yeah, I mean, we
As much as possible.
need some water. The farmers are hurting. The grounds are dry. The grounds are
Grounds are-
cracking, and it's
Yeah.
things. Y'all think the eggs are expensive? Wait till you see the price on lettuce and tomatoes and that kind of stuff this summer. When we don't get no rain, that stuff is expensive.
Who
Gonna
eats
happen.
that shit?
Yeah, it's good salad every now and then is good. You know,
It's rabbit food.
rabbit food. As we get older, we got to watch what we eat. You know,
I
so
know.
you youngins
I'm
can still
learning.
handle that stuff.
Just close your eyes and eat. You don't
Yeah.
have to watch it.
Oh, I don't close my eyes. I eat. It don't matter. Food's food, man. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
There's no pork.
I've lived this long. Let's have fun.
Exactly. So I wanna ask a question on football, right?
Hit us. What you got?
Because this is the first time that potentially could be a three-peat, right? And
Yes,
that
sir.
is a three-peat is like back-to-back wins.
Back to back to back.
Yeah,
3 times in a row.
in a row.
It's the first time ever in NFL history that the same team has actually made it to the Super Bowl 3 times in a row, much less win it.
What about other statistics about how the playoffs ended to the Super Bowl winning? Is there something that plays against the Chiefs or not this year?
Well, there's something that plays for the Chiefs. It's called the refs, but I don't know if there. I mean, I'm sure there is one somewhere. Some statistic person's got to have that in play. But again, this is uncharted waters for everybody. It's never happened in history of NFL football to have a team be there 3 years in a row. So what's the stats or the chances and all of that happening? I'm sure somebody's got it down somewhere by now, but I don't know.
I would assume the odds are stacked up in the opposite direction, so why it's never happened before.
Right.
So the only thing I know for sure has nothing to do with the Chiefs and the 3-peat is that there is some movement, people wanting to get away from the 7 seed in the NFL playoffs and go back to just 6.
6 teams. Yeah.
So the stats on that, if you go back 20 years or something, and we can look it up so I don't look stupid, but I think the 7th seed very rarely advances past the quarter. Usually they lose, and then if they beat the number 2, they never really make it to the Super Bowl anyways.
They don't get out of round 2 very often, if they even get in round 2.
So it's become kind of a redundant seed that maybe it makes more sense to get
Go
rid
back
of
to
it.
6.
Look, I kind of enjoy statistics in the sports I follow, and it took me a while to get a hold on the NFL because you send me all the information, about the games, and then I was checking like the teams to play at home in many sports, almost all sports. Playing at home decides 70% of the games, right? So you're always better. It doesn't matter where you are in the position in the ranking,
Yep.
you are always better off at home. That doesn't translate that much this season. It was 53.5 to 46.5% play at home. It's
and
not that much.
And it definitely translates in the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl is very seldom played at your home stadium. I mean, I think it's only been like twice ever that a Super Bowl team is playing on their home field. It's always at a mutual stadium. Like they're playing this in New Orleans.
I looked this up once because I was curious. Was it I think in L.A.
Yeah.
and then was the other one Tampa?
I think it was L.A. and Tampa. Like I think it's only twice, maybe 3 times max, that a team in the Super Bowl is playing
Have
on
they
their home
won
field.
at home? The team who played at home, have
No,
they
never,
won?
it's never happened.
It's never
Tampa.
happened. Yeah, Tampa won.
That's right. Tampa was they were the only one.
It's the only one, and so that's why it continues the narrative that the NFL is rigged. Tom Brady switches, goes to Tampa, and then wins the Super Bowl at home. So
Doesn't it make it more
that
epic?
storyline?
I know.
You can't write it better.
But if you go along with that, you believe that Taylor Swift is the reason why, the Chiefs are winning. You know what I'm saying?
If you
Like,
believe it,
yeah.
put your money where your beliefs are. You probably get rich. It's
Yeah.
like following Nancy Pelosi's stock positions. She's making money. Just see what they're doing and follow it.
Yep.
If the league and the refs are telling you the Chiefs are going to win, bet on the Chiefs.
Bet on the Chiefs,
Make some money.
I mean, there's people out there saying that the Chiefs aren't going to be able to win the game because there's so much pressure on them to win the game because it's the three-peat and they'll make all this history, and that they're too worried about being the three-peat team and being the winner of it and everything, that Philly's going to come right over the top of them and take the game. But, that's just another conspiracy theory. It's like,
I think this game rides on the back of Saquon Barkley
I think it rides
and that
on
O-line.
I think it rides on the back of Saquon Barkley and the defense of Philly to rattle KC.
They have a better defense than KC has.
Yes, they do.
So they're going to have to do whatever they can, get an advantage from that.
They're disturbing.
The more I talk about it with people, it should be a good game. It's just not what anybody was excited for.
How important is this game to decide where Mahomes is in the echelon of the GOATs if he wins?
If you track where he's at in his
Trajectory,
his
age.
career right now, let's say he wins, and compare him to all the best, his numbers are better. His numbers are better than Tom Brady if you were to look at Tom Brady at that same age and that spot in his career. So, I mean, he's doing generational stuff that's never been done.
I mean, how many? If they win, what is this? Number 5 for him or 4?
4.
So it's 4. So, like he just said, I mean, it's stats, and at this age, he's better, this or that. But at the end of the day, I'm Tom Brady. I'm going to look at you and go, 4? Call me when you got 7, brother. Because that's what Tom Brady has. 7.
I agree, but I also just, how old is Patrick Mahomes? He's got a long time to figure that out.
Oh, he does.
But at what point do the Chiefs have to start rebuilding a little bit? Because they're going to start losing some major pieces.
Yep. No, I'm not saying Mahomes can't get 7. With the way that they're playing ball, it's very feasible that he gets 7 Super Bowl wins. But until you get there.
Yeah, but it's kind of I have a
He's 29.
difficulty to understand the criteria to
He's
be
young.
considered
He
the
can do
GOAT, because it's a collective sport. So some players, in soccer, the player it's like one of the best in the world, but he plays for Norway. He'll never, ever, ever will get any. I mean, national wise, they will never get any ring. Because he plays in a much weaker team, So all this collective sports is so hard to put it. I think it is one of the elements, definitely. The eye test, I think it's my favorite way to measure that. Rather than, I'm not saying longevity is not important. I'm just saying that there are other elements, right, that makes you more effective. More, you know.
I think one of the things that's unique about football is it's one of the only. I mean, it's the only real true team sport where you can be the best at your position, but you still have to rely on everybody else doing their job. And then what if you put up 50 points, but your defense can't stop a nosebleed, and the other team puts up 70? You did all you could do. You play offense.
That's what I was telling about Dak. You know, he still has to have the whole team. You know,
Right.
If not, he's not going to win a Super Bowl.
And that's where I stand back. Go back to that comment a while ago about, who's there to replace Dak? Nobody. Who's going to be better than him at this point right now? Nobody. But I'm even going to go further back and say I think, everyone's harsh on Dak, okay? Incomplete pass or interceptions or whatever. That's not 100% on Dak's fault. Some
people
of that
are
stuff
dropping it. Hit them right in the hands, they drop it.
People drop it. It's right in their hands. The defensive line tips the ball, and somebody else on the defense catches it. That's not all 100% Dak. Sometimes you got to give credit to the defensive team that played the game and played better on that play and took the ball away.
Refusing to close the curtains in the stadium, and you got the sun coming down right in players' eyes.
Right.
Or use that to your advantage. I've seen an interview with Kellen Moore when he was our offensive coordinator that he schemed up plays to avoid the sun.
Right.
When you'd have players turn around looking directly into the sun, their routes were more the decoy. You're hitting a guy over here that's not right in the direct path of the sunlight in his eyes.
And that's sad that you got to run plays like that because of the sun in your own damn stadium.
It's a home field disadvantage.
Right.
And look, we are only talking about what you can do in the field, right? But we have stories of fiscal and tax officials going to players in the hotel at 10 p.m. Like you are here in Italy. What are you doing here? You owe us $20 million, and then they don't let the guy sleep the whole night, and then there are fireworks outside. There's you paint the locker room hours before the other team goes, so they have to smell the smell of the paint. There's so many bullshit I've heard.
Like a lot of stories, like Michael Jordan doing stuff like that, like messing with other players on opposing teams, like hotels and stuff. He would use avenues outside of the game to mess with people, get in your head. It's a part of the game, All's fair.
It's all fair in love and war, baby. It's life.
But I think that's what makes it that much more impressive for the Chiefs to be here. Is it's not all the credit and all the blame goes to a quarterback most of the time, but it's a team.
Right. It's the whole team.
For them to be here 3 years in a row now, they've built a whole program where on all three phases of the game, they're excelling. And that's why I pulled that up earlier, is you can see they don't have the best rankings. It's not odds, it's just where they ranked throughout the year. So,
yeah, you can't knock them like them or dislike them. They're a good football team, a great football team. They're in the Super Bowl 3 years in a row.
Who beat them this year? They only have one loss, right? They only had two losses. They had two losses.
2 losses, and one of them was to
at the end, right?
One of them was to Buffalo, I thought.
Oh, Buffalo for sure. It was Buffalo. Did the Broncos beat them or no?
I can't recall. I know it was Buffalo, and
I
it was
know
just
it was
a loss.
Buffalo.
And I think it was round 17. They lost. It was
Let's find that
14-1.
answer out.
Then they lost.
I think it was the Broncos, and they didn't play their starters.
Oh,
But
that's
Buffalo
right.
they tried to win, they lost. But then they won the game that mattered against Buffalo in the playoffs. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
How many games they won? Like you thought they would lose, and they won this year.
7, at least.
Amazing, right?
First game of the year against Baltimore came down to the last play. Isaiah Likely, one toe out of the end zone at the very end of the game, and that was to start the season off. I was like, "Oh, it's going to be a great year."
Well, and
then
the Raiders, man, they blew that game. The Raiders blew that game. They should have lost to the Raiders.
I think it might have been the first, because they're divisional rivals, but the first time they played the Broncos, they won because they blocked that field goal at the very end, which is never happens. So they were bailed out, not by the refs. That's just a play that happened. But they've been bailed out a few times. But I think you have to give them credit to be here. It's not all on the back of Mahomes. But I do find it interesting that they only rank top 10 in one of those 4 categories, and that's their defense, ranking 9th. Everything else,
Yeah, you're correct. The Broncos beat them 38-0.
38-0.
Nothing.
I didn't watch that game. I knew it was the Broncos, but I
Boy, it
never
says
watched.
right there, 38-0.
Wow.
They could have stayed at home.
I remember when we were doing our fantasy draft.
No points at all.
Yeah, no points at all. Mahomes didn't play. A lot of starters didn't even play.
It was the last game of the season. They'd already locked first number one seed or
okay.
whatever in the
So
playoffs.
that's-
They
they
were just getting
rested.
extra, but yeah.
They rested the players.
51, I think they were.
Because
Oh, yeah.
they beat the Broncos early in the season 16-14.
Yeah, that's
so.
what he said.
That's the one where they blocked the field goal. They would have lost 17-16
Yeah, true.
to a divisional rival. So it's just
Looking at the statistics over there,
look how
on-
much better.
on the season, only passing that they were better than the Eagles, right?
Oh, they are, yeah.
Eagles are ranking high in every category except passing because their run game has been so good. They haven't had to throw the ball as much.
Just a question. When they say passing, it's completed passing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So which means they are 29th because they didn't execute enough because they did not need it. So the 29th actually means better in that case. Almost.
It's a skewed statistic.
Yeah.
It's like we can talk about why they're 29th because they're second in rushing. So it's hard to be top 5 in both categories. It's kind of crazy they were 29th, though. I didn't realize there's 32 teams. So they were third from the bottom in passing. That's kind of surprising.
Well, if you watch how they play the game this year, man, it's a lot of Saquon, and then you've got a lot of
Tush push.
You got a lot of tush push and a lot of Saquon running, and you've also got a lot of Hurts running.
Yep.
He runs, he tucks the ball and goes a lot.
Which is why I'm wondering, because the KC's D-line isn't bad, so if they can force Philly to pass, get them out of their comfort zone, that's where we're going to see this game come alive.
And how efficient is there a way to measure how efficient these passes were, or it doesn't matter? Because it doesn't matter. Like they are 29th in passes, right? But if they were efficient, it would count much more. It would count much more.
How are they measuring it? Are they 29th based off of total passing yards on the entire season, or is it 29th based off of completion percentage?
Right. What's the
quality of the pass?
I bet it's just total passing yards. That's
Right.
my guess.
Right.
Because if it's pass completion, they wouldn't be 29th.
No,
Because they don't pass enough. That percentage is going to be high.
You see that's why
So
when you look
efficiency
at
will be
that,
high.
you gotta ask yourself,
That's why
maybe it's
statistics
straight,
are
maybe
fun
it's
that way.
straight forward. The passes are straightforward instead of like you go 1-2 mile. You want on the side on this, on one play on the side on another play. But if it's straightforward, like this is what the game is about, right?
I mean, you don't know what they're basing it off of, but you're probably
No.
right. It's total yards,
Yes,
I believe.
yes.
So,
It's just my guess.
but it's probably
But there are statistics like this where they will break down.
Advanced statistics.
So you see the line of scrimmage. It'll show you whites are incomplete, green are complete, reds interceptions, blues touchdowns. Usually this is not at the whole season. They break it down by game, but it'll show you the entire pass chart mapped out, where he threw the ball. And so you can see trends. So you can see right here, he was real comfortable throwing these kind of screens, right? Behind the line of scrimmage to his right. And then all of these, he throws a lot more to his right than he does to his left, at least in this game, right? He finished 27 for 35, 264 yards, 3 tuds. So they'll break it down by. So you can get pretty complex statistics. How much time do you have to really dive into all this stuff? What they're showing you here probably is not that. My guess, educated guess, is just probably total passing yards. I bet the efficiency is there because they don't throw as much as other teams do. So when they do, it's successful.
They rush, right?
Yeah.
Or
So who-
short passes because they are like just rushing, right?
If you had to guess, they're the number 2 rushing team. Who was the number 1? Detroit? With Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery? Or who else?
man, it's got to be Detroit. I would think it's got to be Detroit.
That's the only.
So
other
you're
team
guessing Detroit will also be on the 20s.
I think Detroit would be number 1 in rushing, but in passing, I mean, Jared Goff was beaming it this year. They've got to be top 20, I would think.
Mhm.
Yeah. And if we were to see an NFC championship game, Detroit and Philly, which I would have been really surprised to see Detroit lose that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, this
It'll be an interesting game, but I think you're going to see some points scored. It's going to be a slow start, but they'll turn it up in the second half.
as you can see here, so they played the Super Bowl 2019.
Yep.
The same exact team, two teams, Chiefs and Eagles. Chiefs obviously won, but they played again in 2023, and the Eagles beat the Chiefs 21-17. So they kind of already got their get back. They just didn't win a Super Bowl. But I'm sure in the position that they're in now, that last matchup didn't matter to them at all. They want to win the Super Bowl.
They want to win Super Bowl.
But you can say that about both teams. What team doesn't want to win the Super Bowl? You make it all the way here, they're going to want to win.
Cowboys.
Absolutely, the Cowboys don't want to win anything.
No.
But I think Eagles played better throughout. Looking at
They did.
Week by
all
week,
day long, week by week,
Week
by
by
week,
week.
by week. The Eagles are a steady
Eagles
team all year
always
long.
played better.
KC had quite a few games, man, that if you would have given another minute on the clock, they'd have easily lost 4 or 5 other games. The other team just needed more time.
What I'll say about them, though, is like when it matters the most, they find a way to win.
They find a way to win.
Whether it's the refs helping them out or not, it's neither here. They find a way to win.
Yeah.
But I would play more confidently.
And
if
they
I
didn't.
knew
They
the-
didn't play
if I
each
knew
other.
The referees are on my side.
Doesn't that remind you a little bit of
Yeah.
Tom Brady, though? Because that was Tom Brady in his prime. He'd be in these close games, and they would find a way to win.
Find a way to win.
That's
And-
what separates the greats.
At the end of the day, that scorecard doesn't tell you how you got there. It just shows that you got there.
Yep.
I mean, it does tell you how you scored, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I watched this interview from Isaiah Thomas from Detroit Pistons. He says that we take for granted how hard it is to win one championship, let alone 2, because they got 2, like 88 and 99, the bad boys. So he was saying, like, you have no idea. You have to beat Bird, you have to beat Jordan, you have to beat Magic Johnson in the same year.
It's not easy to win no matter what sport you're in.
Exactly.
I agree with that. It's
matter what you
really
do.
hard. Yes.
Twice?
Everything has to come together.
3 times? Huh. Yeah.
I mean, and that's just 3 in a row. I think in the last 7 years, this is their 5th appearance.
5th appearance in 7
Fifth
years.
appearance, yes.
In 7
So,
years.
It's unsustainable to have a team be there at the top this long. It doesn't happen that often. I mean, it doesn't happen very often. It was Tom Brady's the only other one in my lifetime I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that comes close to it in my life is back in the Montana days with 49ers in it.
Yep.
They were always in it. I think there for a 7 or 8, maybe 9-year run, the 49ers were always in the championship game, if not the Super Bowl. I mean, they were just there.
Well, that's similar.
And I hate to say that as a Cowboy fan, but it happened.
Well, lately the Niners have kind of been there. They've been to a Super Bowl in the last 10 years, whatever
Yep.
it was. They've been in NFC championship games. They just haven't made it all the way.
That made all the way.
But I'm starting to see kind of a downfall of the 49ers. I think they missed their window because they
Yeah,
had a
they
terrible
peaked.
year.
Yeah, they peaked, and now they're going back down. So
But what I don't understand is in the NFC East, we haven't been to an NFC championship game since 95, and every other team has made all these moves and found success, and we're not making it
we're
out.
staying steady at doing nothing.
Which tells, I think Jerry's happy making the money. It's a big market. They sell a lot of jerseys. They sell tours. I don't know. I don't think he's as motivated by winning as he is by making money. He's a good businessman.
Well, there's no doubt about that. He's
a great
all about,
businessman.
He's a great businessman. He's all about the dollar and knows how to make it.
I respect that, but as a fan that wants to see your team win, it's heartbreaking to pour your heart and soul to a team and know that they don't really reciprocate and give that back to their fans. The decisions that they make,
Right.
it makes you feel like they don't give a shit about you.
But if you look at it, and you just kind of said it, giving it back to their fans. But does that really matter? Because as bad as the Cowboys have been for 25, 30 years, right? We're on year 30 now, basically.
Yeah.
Every time I look on that TV, every time I look for tickets and go to the game sold out and stadium's packed.
Those
Everybody
ticket
goes.
prices aren't dropping.
They're not dropping. It's the Cowboys, and people want to go to the game and see the game. And whatever it is that Jerry's doing to get those people in that stadium every game, every season, all the time, it's working. Why quit?
But
I get that.
this
It
year,
just sucks for me.
this year, I've seen Dylan actually doing the picks of the week on the bottom of the logos, picking against the Cowboy more often than last year.
Last year, I don't think I picked against the Cowboy
Once.
even one time.
Yeah, and I mean, you're picking. That is what it is. I'm just talking about the fact that
You
know,
wanted to
Jerry's-
win, man.
Jerry's
Yeah.
Jerry's probably the richest owner of any NFL team with the worst record of going to the Super Bowl in the last 30 years.
Like, if I was in his position, I'm not going to say I would do anything different. It is a business, and you're making money, but I just think about the Detroit Lions. For years, they were terrible.
Yep.
So this past couple of years, being a fan of that team has to be exhilarating. It has to be like the best time of your life
Mm-hmm.
supporting this team. And it's been the opposite for me. You put all this energy. You're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Comes with the territory. Everybody talks shit. No one likes the Cowboys if they're not a fan of the Cowboys. America's team, but we're America's most hated team too.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, bring it on, baby.
And I can handle it, but it sucks when you go, 4 and you get 4 wins. This year we had 8 wins.
Right. Right.
So at least last year we played a good regular season.
Played a great regular season last year. Had 0 losses at home.
Yep.
Won every game at home, and but still had nothing to show for it at the end of the season.
And so the end result is the same in that regard, but at least as a fan, like, the journey along the way was more fun. This year has been like, I don't even care to watch some of the games towards the end of the year. It doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
So I'm just gonna start finding another AFC team to root for.
Well,
for now.
next year it's going to be all different because we got all new coaching and everything. So everybody's going to be excited. Let's come see what he's got and what's going on. And unless they win the first 2 or 3 games, it's going to be right back to nobody caring anymore.
I'm hopeful, but I'm not stupid. I'm not expecting a lot. It's gonna be his first year. He needs to develop and grow as a coach too.
Well, I think that all hinges on the draft and who we bring in and who we replace and what new guys we get on the field. Because if we don't get a couple offensive line guys and another person on the other side, like we talked about, to run with CeeDee Lamb, it don't matter who's coaching.
History in the draft tells you I don't expect much.
Nope.
They don't make good moves.
Nope, they go lineman the first round, maybe second round. They wait till 3rd and 4th round to get running backs and whatever, and by then all the good ones are gone.
And I'm not a believer in we're down, so jump ship. I'm gonna go root. I'll never root for another team. It's just unfortunate time to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. It's better than being a Chicago Bears fan.
Any day of the week.
It's better than being a Jacksonville Jaguars fan.
Any day of the week.
How many teams haven't won the Super Bowl of the 32?
Buffalo Bills, Cleveland Browns. I think there's 4.
4, yeah.
Not a whole lot.
I know that's 2. I know that's 2 of the 4. I'm blanking on the other 2 at the moment.
That's excellent compared to other sports. If you compare to other sports where basically you know who is going to be in the top 4, top 6, right?
Some of the teams just dominate. Yeah.
Now, Buffalo has been to a lot of Super Bowls. They just never won one.
Yes.
The Browns have never even appeared in a Super Bowl.
Nope.
Didn't the Bills lose like 4?
To the Cowboys.
Yeah, 4 times, right?
To the boys, they lost.
Yeah.
Yep, they sure did. That's fine with me.
I tell you, I like the Bills. The modern day Bills. I like Josh Allen. I like that team. At the beginning of the year, I was like, let's see a Cowboys-Bills Super Bowl, and let's run it back and win another one, rub it in. It just didn't work out that way. It's not the way the cookie crumbled.
No,
Look,
sure isn't.
I have a question here too. Does the culture change much when the coach leaves, or is then the NFL more about the club team culture, or is more like a coach moves to teams and then they change it?
Are you saying the coach changes?
Because you see, like, if you think of, I'm just going to give an example, right? So it doesn't matter who coaches Barcelona, they have a style of playing. They know they will hire someone who plays in that style, who can potentialize that style of sport.
I think part of the answer to that is it also has to do with how the NFL in a whole is changing. My personal opinion, in the last 5 years, you've seen a lot of NCAA football stuff coming to the NFL with all this RPO and quarterbacks running everywhere. And you take NFL back 10 years ago, and you were a bunch of pocket passing football teams. You didn't have all these running quarterbacks. So with that being said, I think it has to do with, okay, let's just take the Cowboys, for example. You got Schottenheimer that just came in and started coaching the game. He's got to adapt to what he has, the players he has, the scheme that he has, and what can he run with what he has to play with. You know? Kind of like so I think that's part of the issue, right, is I can't come into a team and change everything up when I don't have the right people to run that kind of offense.
And you also, in the Dallas Cowboys case, he doesn't have the autonomy to do that. So Jerry's also the general manager. So a coach doesn't have as much control as you'd want him to do. To answer your question, though, like the way Barcelona, so you're saying like Barcelona might hire somebody that's going to come in and run
It's biased, you know, like they will
what they want them to.
The pool, okay, there are 5 or 6 coaches available, and 3 of them will play somehow the sport they like to play, so they would choose among those 3. They won't even consider the other 3 because it doesn't have to do with the style of
what they're
spectacle, right? So they want to provide. Maybe it's 98,000 people every single game, you know.
Yeah.
So
if you ask players, certain teams, a coach comes in and he will bring culture. He'll light a fire. It will change a lot of things. I think Dallas is a different market where that's not necessarily the case.
It's never going to happen.
I would just like to give a shout out to Ballerini Floors, is our main sponsor of this podcast. Put together a lot of funding towards upgrading the place.
And thank you, Ballerini Floors, man. It's beautiful. I haven't seen this. Last time I was here, it was completely different what it is, and it's a very nice looking space in here.
So just a reminder, if you step on it, Ballerini Floors does it. So if you live in the Austin area, anywhere in the surrounding areas, head over to the website, schedule an appointment, let the guys come out, measure. It'd be definitely worth your while. And we just want to say thank you to Ballerini Floors.
Thank you.
You're talking about Ballerini Floors, and great company. They help everybody out. Great product. And y'all go check out their website. And I'll punt out for my company here. Stones and Scapes is officially going to be a closed business here at the end of February, and I'm joining forces with Live Oak Studio. Same service, same guy right here. I'm going to be part owner of that company. Manuel Delara is the main owner of the company, and we're here to service you for all your outdoor living needs, luxury designs, and construction of anything outdoors. So give us a holler. I appreciate it. And thank y'all, gentlemen, for allowing me to come in and join y'all.
Yes, sir, and congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
We are very happy for you.
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited.
2025 is a great year for
2025 is going to be a great year, and I guess I haven't really seen anybody since the White Elephant Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm 50 now, man, so it's a whole new year. 2025 is going to be fun.
It's ringing in.
Parabéns para você.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun year. So hey.
Parabéns para você.
Nessa data querida.
Well, enjoyed it, gentlemen. Great seeing everybody again.
Yeah,
I
great
can't
seeing
think
you.
of a better way to end the show, celebrating the closing of a chapter and the beginning of a new, turning 50, and a promising 2025. So we just kindly ask that you subscribe,
comment,
like,
or dislike, whichever one it is you want. We want to hear them all.
be fair,
yeah, and
share with your friends,
and hit notification.
and we will see you next week right around the same time.
Thank
We
you very
appreciate
much.
you.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Thank you
Bye.
for sticking around.
Have a good
Cheers.
evening, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.